can't do it, man. We gotta stop.
Can we talk about Jack Ruby? We
Yeah,
got it.
just do it. Just do it. Why not? We can make this a two-parter.
No, dude, we're not making this a two-parter.
But I'm into
It's only
it, man.
9:25.
All right, hold on.
I can go till at least 11.
I've had to piss for the last hour, so just give me a minute at least.
You're cutting me off at the knees.
Just give me a
man.
minute. I have to piss. I'll be right back.
You're having me
I'll be right
stop.
back.
No, while you're gone, I'm going to step away too for a second. You hold the fort down,
Oh, who
Chase.
the fuck? Allison, you want to talk to me? I'm going to stop recording because anything that I say is going to end up on the Instagram account.
Oh, come on. We're not that mean. Take a deep breath, dude.
I don't need to take a deep breath. I'm not. This is a mild chase. I mean.
No, I feel like
it's
the
not-
real
it's not
Chase
even-
the Yelling finally came out.
But I think I don't understand. I don't understand
I
how.
don't understand how you can't believe in the conspiracy.
It's not that I don't believe in the conspiracy. I believe in all conspiracies. It's a matter of, hey, cool haircut.
Thanks.
It's a matter of the facts, and the facts end up to be that Lee Harvey Oswald is a lunatic.
He was a
don't-
lunatic, but
and I
that's what
don't-
made him a great
but I don't-
scapegoat.
But you can't go. That's the problem. Is you can't immediately go to scapegoat. You have to assume the worst, and then if the evidence leans you towards scapegoat, which it doesn't, then you can assume that he's a scapegoat. But there's no evidence that he was a scapegoat. There's evidence that he was a lunatic and that he had the ability to assassinate the president, and that's all that you can go off of. Anything else is just making an assumption, right? You can't.
I
deny
don't think
it.
so. I
Yeah.
don't think so. I think there's way too many holes.
I don't think there's. Look. I don't think holes equal a conspiracy. I think
Since
this is a brand new.
since when?
I think
this is the only believable
don't-
conspiracy we've talked about, and it's the only one you don't believe in.
I don't think that's even the case either. I think. Look,
Oh
I
God,
think,
it hurts my head. It really does.
I don't understand.
Okay, Adam's back.
I just don't understand how this is the one that Adam chooses to be the conspiracy theorist on. That's all.
Could you hear me piss?
No.
No, Jesus Christ. Maybe maybe, but I was talking to your wife, which is way more interesting.
I heard you like crying like a little baby because you
I
were getting
wasn't-
ganged up on.
I'm not crying at all. I appreciate the debate. I just don't want you to cut me off at an hour and a half because you feel like we've done everything we need to talk about. I think this is an onion, man. You got to peel it back.
So you want a fucking two-parter?
I can talk about. Look, there's plenty of these.
There's
things
more to
that-
talk about. There's a shit ton more to talk about.
There's a ton of I can talk about on any of these topics that last more than an hour. I just don't want to overwhelm you with editing. I also find it very hard to believe that this is the one that you believe the conspiracy on, because I feel like this is the one that makes the most sense to just take at face value.
No, it's not at all.
How I don't. But the only thing that you're basing your theory off of for the CIA is that they had a hatred for Kennedy and that they potentially were disbanded, and that's not a good theory, because there was plenty of things under Kennedy that had the same issue, right? Like the FBI had the same fucking issue with Kennedy as the CIA did. So if you're gonna
Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I'm bad at.
get
No,
the
I'm
fuck in here
horrible at
because-
that.
Cut him off, man. Yeah.
I am
Yeah, get the fuck
horrible
in
at
here,
cutting
because if
off.
you don't stop me, I'm gonna keep
No,
going.
listen.
I have to go get more wine.
Yeah, I know, like 4 minutes.
Exactly. You got to cut him off. You just got
But-
to.
But what you're saying is only helping to strengthen the argument, because it isn't just affecting the CIA. It's affecting how the FBI operates. It's affecting how the military operates. Like we have all agreed in here, and I believe this is a conclusion we've all come to. John Fitzgerald Kennedy hated secret operations. He hated them.
Yeah, concur.
He didn't like the secrecy. He wanted transparency in the government for the American people. And that goes against all three of those massively secretive organizations.
Yes, is that enough to assassinate the president? I don't think.
I feel like if you're backed in the corner and your buddies are backed in the corner with you, and you're surrounded by just one guy who isn't all that big, just has dashing good looks and sweats charisma, and that's all he's really got going for him.
Fucks Marilyn Monroe.
You're describing Chase right now.
Well, right. I
sweaty
was
part
looking
is
at his
accurate, but not
face like he was
charisma.
the last to talk, and so I was just using you as my basis for describing JFK. But
So
if you're backed in the corner, you and your three friends, what are you going to do? You're going to fight this guy, and the only way to kill the serpent is to cut off its head.
that is a flawed. That's a flawed premise because you're talking about now. You're not even including that the CIA is the only, malfeasant behind this. You're talking about how the CIA, the FBI, and all other organizations that held secret operations, which is basically all the military, all the FBI, all the CIA, all a bunch of different things. Now you're saying that potentially that they're
Yeah, why couldn't they all have ganged
they're
up?
co-conspirators
Yeah.
because it's pointless. Because when you're at an agency like that, when you have that much power, when Hoover has that much power, when whoever the fuck the CIA head has that much power, you don't need to assassinate the president to get your word across. I don't care if he has a 100% approval rate. You don't need to assassinate him to not be disbanded because
I think
talking
you're
about,
biased just because you used to work
No,
at the Pentagon.
no. I'm not biased about anything.
I think you are.
No, I'm not. I used to work for the government, and that's fine. I don't give two shits about that. All I'm saying is that there was more to lose in assassinating the president than there was to gain by. Wait, there's more.
There's more to lose.
There's more
by
to lose by
assassinating
assassinating
than there
the
is by
president.
gaining
yeah,
it.
and that's 100% correct because we have a checks and balances system that doesn't allow the president to necessarily disband the FBI and the CIA.
You're right.
And
The
everything
president can't just disband the CIA. It has to go through Congress. But that's why I'm saying he had almost 2/3 majority. He could have easily pushed through any legislation he wanted
It
to
doesn't matter.
that got that disbanded.
We know
But
how
it does.
two-thirds
But it does
legislation.
matter.
We see how 2/3 legislation works right now. Trump has that. How much is he actually being able to push through? And we're not talking about
That's
the little
different.
shit. We're
Look
talking
at the
about
approval
big
ratings on
agendas.
the presidents. Look at the approval ratings.
But the approval ratings don't mean shit when you're
Yeah,
trying
it
to
does.
pass
That
something
means
through.
that the Congress supported. Look at all the other legislation that he passed.
When your approval ratings are high, that means that senator's constituency. I can't say that word.
Constituents?
Constituents. But no, in C.
Constituency.
There we go. Thank you. I can't do it. I just can't say it tonight. I'm getting tongue tied. Anyways, that means that representative, that senator's people, they support what the president is doing. Therefore, if they vote in favor of what the president is proposing, the people aren't going to be mad at that senator. So the approval ratings do have an effect. And just disregarding that and saying, "Oh, that doesn't matter," is just it's
the opposite thing is true now.
Evidence.
The opposite thing is true now with the approval ratings, and even though the majority in the Senate and whatever, the people don't want to support the president. Clearly, the approval ratings are shit. So the senators are going to have a harder time doing it because of their constituents.
Because they want the power. The Congress holds the real power. The people in the House, the senators, the representatives, they hold the power.
Right.
The real power. And if they want to keep that power,
right? I mean that's
then why is that the most? Why is it the most voted in election every year?
I don't know.
Midterm elections for Senate. The people who are on the cycle of Senate to where they're at the midterm almost every time. They're the lucky ones because they have less people voting on their seats.
Well, the president does matter because they've got the final say on legislation. They have to sign it. They can send it back or reject it.
Yeah, but they can also. I don't know, guys. I just look. This is one of those times that I don't know how to argue because I'm not used to being on the side of logic.
No, you're not. You're used to on the side of just making up throwing out random shit, and no one can argue.
Well, let's look at. Okay, so you say it's unrealistic for the CIA to do this, but let's look at what else is going on in that time.
Okay,
we're in the depths of the Cold War basically.
Okay,
and in the CIA is our KGB. Okay. These assassinations, these political killings. They're an everyday occurrence. Okay, that might be an exaggeration, but they are a common activity for the CIA. This time, all they had to do is flip the script. How do we kill somebody instead of doing it in Russia or doing it in whatever Russia puppet nation that they were doing it in at that moment in time? How do we do it instead of doing it there? How do we do it in America?
Okay.
And then we see, all right, he has a 10-mile motorcade and an open air car. All right. Oh, he's going at a snail's pace. One of our expert marksmen from the Daltex building could probably do this, and it's almost the same line of sight. I bet we'll get people to believe it. It's cool.
Okay, so talk to me as to how the CIA executes this, right? Or how do they bring
you hire Lee Harvey Oswald.
But that's so easy. That's such a fucking cop-out.
Yeah, have you ever heard of something called Occam's razor?
Yes, of course. But
exactly, you just said it. You said it. It's so fucking easy, and that's exactly Occam's razor.
No, what I'm saying is it's so fucking easy to say that because the CIA had motive, that Lee Harvey Oswald couldn't act by himself. In reality, this guy has already tried to do an assassination. And
failed.
It failed, of course, but he's a fucking idiot too. It doesn't make him.
You just realized that what you just said helps make it to where it's unrealistic at best.
It's not unrealistic. This guy has a mind that doesn't work the same as anybody else's. He's a fucking lunatic. He tries an assassination, he fails. Okay, it doesn't matter. We can't discount the fact that he still tried an assassination.
We cannot.
He has the skill set in order to, regardless of if you think he does or not, he has the skill set to assassinate the president.
Have you read the Warren Commission report?
No. What the fuck do you think I do in my free time? Do you think I read the Warren Commission
report? Of course.
Report?
Why would you fucking research a topic, right?
I don't understand. I don't understand how that is any relevance. You guys,
because there's a couple interesting parts, but there's one part where they're kind of summarizing their conclusions, and they say the committee believes, on the basis of the evidence available to it, that the Soviet government was not involved. Then it says, the committee believes, on the basis of the evidence available to it, the Cuban government was not involved. The committee believes, on the basis of the evidence available to it, anti-Castro Cuban groups were not involved. The committee believes, on the basis of evidence available to it, organized crime was not involved. And then the last bullet point is, Secret Service, FBI, CIA were not involved. So it's just really interesting how they had this really long spiel. The community believes, on the basis of the evidence available to it, on all these other bullets, and then just really plain, matter-of-factly, Secret Service, FBI, and CIA were not involved.
See, you're looking into random shit that you want.
No, it jumps out off the page. Look, just read the fucking report.
I'm not negating the report. I'm saying that you're dictating the report the way that you want to dictate the report.
False.
No. I mean, it's exactly how it's written, and it's very important because all of the people that are on this committee that are authoring or approving what is being written all have some sort of criminal justice or legal background.
Yeah, where language is very important. You're a fucking almost lawyer.
Right? And when you write something in a legal document, when I'm drafting a legal document for my supervising attorney, the omission of the Oxford comma could mean the difference between success and failure for our client. The addition of an extra, a misspelled word can invalidate an entire section of a document, because if I misspelled that word, it's no longer a thing. So wording is 123%. Now that you'd say that's a mathematical impossibility, and I'd say you're wrong.
I emphatically agree with you.
But it is so incredibly important, like in every day. And I mean, I've worked in immigration, bankruptcy, civil law, and domestic law.
Have you worked in
all of them?
Let me ask you this: have you worked in presidential assassination?
No, but I'm waiting. No, because everybody that's in that department at my firm have been there since like the Kennedy assassination. So they're just sitting on there, and they won't retire to open up a position. But once they do, I'm stepping in.
I understand. So the presidential assassination department.
Yeah. It's the best department at our firm.
And I'm not debating that the legality and the word and the verbiage, everything matters. I'm not negating that. I'm saying that everybody from obviously the president all the way down is in